Welcome to the GTN show 2023. Let's go.
Oh yeah, well, to kick off 2023, we're actually inviting you to join us in 30 minutes of exercise every day throughout January. 30 in 30. In fact, we've got some group rides and runs we're going to be hosting on Zwift, which you can join us in, and we'll be sharing more details on that very shortly.
Yeah, plus we're going to be reminiscing over some of our triathlon faux pas and, of course, inviting you guys to share yours as well. Plus some exciting news from the PTO who've just secured some strong funding ahead of the new season.
Well, before we get on to our faux pas, I thought we would enjoy some of the posts we spotted over the Christmas and New Year break. Starting off with this one from Sam Long with his Christmas workouts. So the How They Train podcast has been posting a few interesting posts over the last month. Big sessions or big days from the pro athletes. And this one I thought was quite interesting. I mean, Sam Long is known for his big training days. This is a 5K swim. Sorry, no, it's bigger than that. No, it is a 5K swim.
It's a 5K swim, unless he did a warm-up as well.
Yeah. So it's 50 by 100. And so that's probably a good couple of hours there. And then he's got a 3-hour ride off the back of that with some 10-second sprints and then building the last hour. And then an 8K run off the bike at 70.3 race pace. So that's a chunky sort of 5.5 to 6 hour training day there.
Imagine that probably wouldn't have squeezed all that in on Christmas Day.
Wow, yeah. That's, I'm not sure I'd like to spend my Christmas doing that.
Yeah, definitely didn't get anywhere near that, that's for sure. A lovely post here from Javier Gomez says, I have to say I'm happy to leave 2022 behind. It was a year with many more lows than highs. A big thanks to those who continue to support me. But then there's a big however. There's one highlight a few weeks ago that exceeds all highs and has to be my greatest achievement to date, the arrival of our little girl, Miss Olivia Gomez Jenkins. I could not be prouder. Dad and husband, my girls are amazing. Oh, congratulations. What a lovely post.
And also a lovely post here from Holly Lawrence, reminiscing on 2022, saying it's been a bit of a mixed bag with some average results, but left her wanting so much more. I mean, this last year she had a bike accident, flu, COVID, rolled ankle, and all the issues with the last race of the season, including a bike that didn't arrive and all sorts of things. But she said, despite all of that, her love and dedication to sport has never wavered, and just so grateful that she's able to do all of this. So, wishing her the best of luck for 2023.
Yeah, and I think she's doing a big move as well, isn't she? Moving
she is from
LA up to Boulder, to the
yeah.
Mecca of triathlon. Well, yeah, interesting to see that. And the final post we spotted here from Sophie Coldwell. And you can tell she's definitely in the UK from this picture, can't you? What a way to end 2022 and start 2023. The real Otley run yesterday and an off-road adventure today. Thank you, Leeds. You were fun.
Yeah, it looks like she's been enjoying the mountain bikes with her partner, Tom, and then also this big team run with the Leeds crew and Otley. It looks like they kind of did a bit of a pub crawl run, which looked like a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, we recently got sent this post in, and it's made us think about a few of our triathlon mistakes. So this is sent from Sarah in Wausau, British Columbia, Canada. She says, a friend of mine mistook a shampoo sample pack from Try Hard as a nutrition gel and ate it on the bike during the race. It gave a new meaning to shampoo as it went straight through him. On his next race, I couldn't resist texting him, have a squeaky clean race. And of course, we had a reminder poster on the course to help him remember. And there's a lovely picture. Do not eat shampoo.
Poor guy. You'd have thought he'd have figured it out after the first little sip, but hey.
Ooh. Yeah, can't imagine that one.
Well, yeah, that has obviously got us thinking about our own triathlon faux pas. There's been quite a few. Would you like to start?
Yeah, I mean, when you first asked me, Mark, I was like, I can't think of any. And
I did the same.
Then, I mean, I started writing a list. I actually have to look at it because it is quite long. But I mean, back when I was doing modern pentathlon, I did leave my whole pentathlon bag, and bear in mind that's for 5 sports, all the kit in my bag in the hotel lobby because I thought the coach would put it on the bus for me, and that would teach me to do my own things. It was an hour journey to the venue, got off the bus and waited for the bags to come off, and I was like, where's my bag? Yeah, fair to say.
So did you used to let other people put your bag on for you?
Let them, yeah, I was very generous like that.
Interesting insight.
I mean,
there.
These bags are very heavy, like 30 kilos worth of bag, and you're trying to kind of... Anyway, my performance director went back to the hotel in a taxi, and again, I had to borrow a kit for the start of the fencing, and yeah, let's say they never let me live that one down. But also, yeah, that was my my sort of pentathlon, but triathlon-wise, I was like, I've not got many. I think one of my first ones was really early on at GTN at the 70.3 Worlds, and I was filming with our creator, and the race, it was rolling start, and the race had started, and we were filming, and then realised that they'd shut the barrier to get across. They let the athletes across, but I had all the mic pack and everything, and I couldn't get to the cameraman, so I couldn't get to my race start because I had all the camera kit. And my race wave had started. Luckily, it was chip timing, but still, I had watched my wave head off, and then was kind of on just catch up all day. But yeah, that was one. There's a few more, but go on, I want to hear some of yours.
Well, yeah, I also did a similar thing. I was like, I just can't think of any of them. They all started to flood in. One of my very first races, Elite British Super Series race, they had a big grandstand up in Manchester because the Commonwealth Games was on as well. And I was leading the race with the likes of Alistair Brown and stuff, and I just went in very excitedly into this roundabout in front of the grandstand, a little too hot, and slid out in front of everyone. Obviously, then had to spend the next. Fortunately not, but then obviously had to spend the next couple of minutes with blood all over me, fixing a bike in front of a whole grandstand looking at me, which was quite humiliating when I was very early into sport. I also did clip someone's wheel in a race in France on a rather alpine route and did a bit of a Lance Armstrong through an orchard. But amazingly, joined back onto the group on the other side of the switchback. So,
like comedy style.
Also had a bottle eject from my bottle cage at the early stages of a race, a very hot race actually. And the first bottle I grabbed was a chocolate recovery shake, which is not exactly what you want. And I also question why that event had chocolate recovery shakes. There's so many.
I know you're counting. We both had counting issues before. I know recently in our eBay triathlon, you miscounted and you celebrated across the finish line. And then I was like, why have you finished so soon? Like miles ahead of me. And you were like, and just started running again and did your next lap.
I was just being polite. I just wanted to wait for you.
I mean, I can't laugh too much because I did lose count on a 300-metre pool swim and started going the wrong way down the lane when you had to get in an hour relay earlier this year.
I also remember you maybe forgetting a mech hanger for a mountain bike race.
That was that triathlon was a whole bad experience. It was out in Malta. Again, it was our first year of filming. And it's just a little piece of metal, and it meant that I couldn't find another one.
I know a lot of people that have been there.
Yeah.
And James has got some good ones as well. He shared with us. He arrived at race the night before and hadn't packed his pedals. Also didn't tighten seat post bolt, which I think, again, a lot of people have probably experienced before, including myself. And it cost him a bit of power, he said. Ran out T1 with his swim skin still on his legs.
You see that, don't you?
Yeah. He also had a bottle eject itself with all his fuel, so 10 gels, and the first 500 metres of his race. And then, he said it's had quite a few crashes. I also remember Joe Skipper sharing quite a few funny ones with us, including forgetting his passport for a flight in London, then asking a friend to drop it on the next train down to him. And it actually worked. But then the next time, he also forgot his passport, similar situation, and the train split halfway and ended up in another part of the country.
Couldn't write that
He also
stuff.
wiped baby oil inside his goggles, and then during the swim, thought he was following the lead kayak, and it was actually someone just kayaking for fun in the lake.
Wins on the triathlon faux pas.
We also had a really good one recently over on GTN.
Yeah.
Cy Richardson with his Masters Cyclocross World Champs faux pas.
Well, some pretty funny ones there. I think at the moment Joe Skipper is at the top of the list. But if you guys have something that you think has really ruined your race or is funny or whatever, please share it with us because we like to all laugh together.
And now for the Tri News. And in case you missed it, before January, we announced that we would be doing 30 minutes of exercise every day throughout January. 30 in 30. And we're inviting you to join us.
Yeah, there's actually a GTN Zwift club that is new for you to join. The link is in the description below. You just need to sign up and then you have access to our events. We're going to be leading some rides and runs ourselves. There's also going to be group workouts on there. And if that's not for you, we're just encouraging you to do 30 minutes of any type of exercise every day for the month.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, we're also inviting you to share some video clips, photos, whatever you like, of you doing that 30 minutes of exercise each day with us. And we may be able to feature it in a video very soon. Obviously, we don't have any breaking news just yet, but we are awaiting the official announcement from Ironman regarding the World Champs. There is a bit of speculation about where the women's and men's races are going to be held and the split format, etc. but we're waiting that announcement. Hopefully we'll hear that in the next week or two. So stay tuned for that. Moving on though, we have two-time Olympic triathlon champion Alistair Brownlee, who has now been appointed to the board of the British Olympic Foundation, which isn't something I'd actually heard of before, the BOF. It's kind of the charitable arm to the BOA, the British Olympic Association, and basically aims to create learning opportunities for young people in sport and essentially get them active in sport.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Alistair actually dipping his toes into quite a few of these sorts of things and just sort of really expanding and using his knowledge outside of sport. And he says, I'm very excited to work with the BOF to fulfil these aims, carry on the work I've already been doing with the Brownlee Foundation and provide more opportunities for young people to be active.
Well, moving on, and we're all aware of the positive impacts that the PTO, the Professional Triathletes Organisation, has had on triathlon over the last couple of years. I'm pleased to announce that at the end of December, they were successful in their Series B funding round, and that was led by Divergent Investments, who are a private equity fund that invest in companies that are focusing on a positive effect on communities and customers. Other investors were the majority investor, Sir Michael Moritz, as well as Warner Brothers Discovery. So yeah, very excited to see what's to come for 2023. We're obviously still awaiting the announcement of the events, the venues, the dates for 2023, but it's looking like it's going from strength to strength, so very excited to hear that soon.
Yeah, and great for the sport as well to see more money being pumped into triathlon. Well, there's some other news. There's been a recent study that I spotted on looking at the difference between trail runners and road runners, and they're mainly looking at the strength comparison and thinking that trail runners are naturally going to be stronger as they have to have a bit more explosive action to get up hills, over obstacles and the balance and on uneven terrain. But when they first tested their sample groups, they actually found that through hamstring and quadricep strength there was no difference. So then they had to look at power, and that's where you do see the difference. So they did a test using an 8-second all-out sprint on a bike, and that actually showed that the trail runners had 23% more torque and 16% more power than these road runners. And then they also went on to look at running efficiency. And well, the study showed that road runners burned about 6% less energy than the trail runners when running on the treadmill on the flat at 7-minute mile pace, which kind of makes sense. You'd expect that. But when it actually went up to a 10% incline, then that was evened out. So there's some interesting things, which I think we'd probably agree with. But the study did have a few flaws just looking at the amount of training that each of the groups did and the distance they actually run over, because obviously trail runners tend to run much longer than road runners on the whole as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's similar to mountain biking versus road cycling. I'd often expect a mountain biker to have a bit more torque given this sort of stochastic, natural sort of training element to it and trying to get up over obstacles and things. But yeah, I guess one of the slight caveats to this is that road running is very much a professional sport. It's very well established, whereas trail running, whilst it is growing massively, it's maybe not quite there, so you don't have quite the kind of the pool of athletes and the top athletes. So they do actually say the average run volume in training is 79 hours a month on the road versus 43 hours a month for trail runners from that pool of athletes. So yeah, there are some caveats, but I definitely say that's quite interesting.
It'd be interesting to look at, physiologically look at, say, Eliud Kipchoge compared to Kylian Jornet, wouldn't it?
That would be. Maybe we'll have to sort that one out. Well, now for What the Tech, and this is quite an exciting bit of tech, or at least I think so. Back in September 2020, we announced the On Cyclone project, which is a shoe or a kind of program in which you could lease a shoe rather than buying a shoe. So ordinarily, you might spend 100 to 200 quid on a pair of shoes, which you'd wear until the cushioning shot and then you'd replace them. With this program, you would lease a pair of shoes for around £25 or $30 a month. You would use them for a minimum of 90 days, and then when you feel they're ready to replace, you would log into your On account and order a new pair of shoes. They would send them to you. You would get a return label for your current Cloud Neo shoes, which is what they're called, send them back, and they would be fully recycled and made into another pair of shoes. So they're trying to kind of close that chain, fully recycle the shoes. And yeah, just a really interesting format. We've actually seen a couple of athletes actually posting about these. And the interesting thing is that they're not just a normal kind of recyclable shoe. These are actually performance
that's the
shoes,
exciting
very
part.
good shoes.
Yeah, and also they're made from castor beans in the first place, so just sounds really cool. I'm quite excited to get my hands on a pair.
Yeah.
And they look nice as well.
They do look nice. Just maybe don't go trail running in them.
Yeah, and I think they are designed as a road shoe through and through, but perfect for a weekend away when you just need to take one pair. Anyway, moving on, there's a new app which I've just spotted called Fast and Fit, and the thing that caught my eye was it's been designed by a 17-year-old high school runner, which is super cool. So it's got two aspects to this new app. The first one is a race calculator that converts times from 600 metres up to 10K, so helping you work out your pace, which is interesting enough. But it's the second part that's had more of the work behind it and is a more interesting part. It's actually helping you identify how worn out your shoes are and when you need to replace them. Kind of leads on quite nicely, doesn't it, from our last post. So he's looked at whether, so by looking at the wear of the shoe or using the app to take a photo of this, it can tell how much overpronation or superpronation you've done on the wear, and whether there's holes, whether there's tears, and generally when it needs to be replaced. And his idea is that this will hopefully help people minimise injuries, because obviously when one of the things that can lead to injury risk is having shoes that are worn out or ready to be replaced. And yeah, at the moment it's designed, so obviously for the running, it's designed up to 10K. That's because he is predominantly a track and a cross-country runner himself, but he says that it's going to be hopefully opening this up to a half marathon and marathon later on, and still doing some more development on actually the app itself. But pretty interesting and pretty crazy for someone so young, and just the passion that he's got. It's great.
All right, moving on, and now time to take a look through some of your photos and videos that you've sent in to us, which, don't forget, you too can do using the photo uploader. Link on screen right now, or in the description just down below. We've got quite a few this week. The first one from Pakistan, and this is from Cameraman, who is running in Muri, and he's basically running up a hill. He's also sent in a video of him running up that hill, and yeah, I mean, it looks like a serious run, that. So
yeah,
well done
epic
to you.
backdrop, and I think that's our first submission from Pakistan, which is really cool to
Yeah.
see. So thanks for that one. Next we have Nigel. Now, obviously some of these have been sent in over Christmas, so a few Christmas throwbacks here. And this is his ML Cheetah mountain bike, as his giant Defy couldn't handle the sleigh weight. And he says it's the Milford Hospital charity Santa cycle in Ireland. And apparently he sent a picture in last year and got second place, not from us, but in his competition, and may have gone just a bit overboard with my homemade sleigh. However, he won first place in a great event for a great cause. Global Triathlon has Sam Long and yo yo yo. Limerick Triathlon has me and ho ho ho.
That is a really good effort. Well done.
It
yeah, it looks quite heavy, but maybe it's not. Very good. Next one from Giovanna, and they said they haven't even said what bike they're using. They just said MRI lab, because they are a neuroscientist, and they said basically talking about that work-life balance. Outfit of the day on a Saturday morning, going to work and trying to squeeze in an extra bike session before Tegucigalpa triathlon. Yeah, with the lab coat over the top.
Dedication.
Yeah, I like some of this. It's just real, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
Real.
But back to a bit of fun for our final one from Sarah on a fat bike at Bragg Creek, Alberta in Canada. So sometimes you need to take a break from Zwift and do some in real life biking in Christmas attire.
That is awesome. I'm very jealous. Well, yeah, as I said, keep those photos, videos coming in using that photo upload link on screen and in the description down below.
And now on to caption competition, and we have to rewind a few weeks back for our last one. It was this picture of Aurelia and Raphael at the Superleague Triathlon Arena Games, making a slightly bemused face, and it got you guys thinking with your captions. Our first submission comes from 188352501.
Is that their phone number?
I know, I hope not. When your training partner says it's going to be a chill session, but you know how competitive you are with one another, and this will be a suffer session undoubtedly.
Next one from Clement said, when you achieve your dream of qualifying for Kona, and it's not in Kona.
Sore point, that one. Now we have Rachel Caro 6. When you've just had Christmas dinner and someone suggests going for a run to burn off the calories.
Chris Debonair, my face when coach tells me to take a 4-hour ride indoors due to the snow.
But our winner this week of the GTN Capture Competition is David Zebedee. No, please do go on and tell me about that time you finished an Ironman. I think, the joke in the room, isn't it, is if you know someone's done an Ironman because they've told you. But, I mean, we have to boast about it if you've gone to that much.
Yeah, no, fair play. Do get in touch and we'll send out a prize to you very shortly. For this week's Caption Comp photo, it is unfortunately of this chap having a bit of a tough day. Obviously, a bit of a nod to our theme for this week's show, triathlon mistakes. Sadly, this one is actually in Kona at the Ironman World Championships, not a place you want to have a puncture. And having been out there, as you'll know, Heather, it's very hot, that tarmac on the side of the road. So having to kneel down and fix a puncture won't be too much
He's got
fun.
a full setup going on, hasn't he? Well, anyway, do leave us your caption suggestions in the comments section below. And that brings this week's show to a wrap. And we were busy filming before Christmas, so we've got plenty of videos coming out, including one looking at power to weight, and then what fitness test should you do, which could be inspiring at this time of year, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Well, don't forget to also check out the GTN shop. You can head on over there to grab some stuff like the t-shirts and jumpers that we're wearing now, plus much, much more. Whilst you're at it, also, why don't you hit that thumbs up, give this show a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not doing so already.